That's a big question.
It is a big question. Hi there and welcome to From Ideas to Results. My name is Luke and I'm joined today by Kitty from our content team here at Sleeping Giant Media, and we're going to explore the latest things that have been happening in the world of content. Diving straight in, we touched upon this in the SEO space. Search Console introduced 24-hour view. So what can we do with this from a content perspective?
In Search Console, brands can now see 24-hour performance for the previous 24-hour period, and if they export it, they can see an hour-by-hour breakdown. So it's becoming a lot quicker to see how your content's performing. So basically, for bloggers, for content marketers, you could be a lot more agile in measuring if new content's performing well, or if you optimize a piece of content that might be your best performing piece, you can very quickly see, oh no, that's tanking, we suddenly need to undo what we've done or change it because it's not quite performing as we would like it to. I think Google estimated that it's cutting back data delays by 50%, it was really significant. So you really do make use of it. It becomes a lot more quicker to think on your feet and respond to industry changes, keyword changes in your content.
And I'm guessing also from a kind of content selection perspective. So say, for example, you're sending a newsletter, you can actually see which piece is performing best. You can also then potentially put some advertising budget behind it to promote a particular product focus or service focus as well.
Especially because it's that hour by hour breakdown from the day before. You can see if you sent something at 3, if there's a sudden uptick at 4, you can quite confidently attribute that to what you sent out.
Okay, so the other point is that there's 50% of LinkedIn's longer form posts have been AI generated, which is huge.
So a AI detection startup called Originality AI has done some work and estimated that this is the case. So half of the long form content you're reading on LinkedIn is believed to be AI generated or duplicate content, which is absolutely wild. From an authenticity point of view and cutting through the noise, it's really difficult. So my kind of thoughts on this are, just because you can use AI to maximize your content output on things like social media doesn't mean you should. LinkedIn themselves, they don't fully measure the amount of AI generated content on their site, but they are putting in performance related blockers on it. They can tell when something is likely to be AI generated. So with that kind of content, they will generally ensure that it's not broadly promoted, making sure that content doesn't enjoy as much engagement as you think it might deserve, because it's not human authored, it's not that valuable or authentic.
Which again is sort of in line with a lot of the search engines where again, AI content isn't original content, so therefore they're trying to limit the effectiveness of that to otherwise, because we create a world where everything's just AI generated and
it's an echo.
You can do it every 10 minutes if you wanted to, which obviously isn't necessarily good quality.
No. Definitely not.
So in terms of kind of the opportunities for marketeers in that perspective, what advice would you give them?
My constant standpoint is, just because you can produce more doesn't mean you should. Now AI is giving everybody an even playing field in terms of the amount of content that they can produce, but how much content your brand should actually produce depends on a whole range of things. From a content blog perspective, it depends on the size of your site, it depends on the nature of the queries that you're trying to rank for. This kind of leads us nicely into our next point about how often should brands post blogs. Google has a ranking system called QDF, which is Query Deserves Freshness. Basically what this does is it prioritizes serving up content that's been regularly updated and refreshed for queries that are time sensitive. So queries about the LA wildfires right now need really up-to-date information for a safety perspective. However, queries about a Christmas pudding recipe that's very evergreen, that doesn't need to-the-minute content. If you're a brand you're trying to rank for a lot of queries that are quite time sensitive, you need to be posting content and updating your content really regularly. But if you're a brand that sells kind of the same product, or your industry is quite static, not like SEO industry, you don't need to be posting every day fresh new content. Things like that come into it that people don't think about. There's more nuance to just chucking out AI generated blogs every day.
So that's again relevant to actually the speed of which that information is changing.
Yes.
And trying to time your content based on that kind of frequency need. Okay. What should people keep in mind for 2025?
Again, as I just said, it depends on the nature of the queries you're trying to rank for and your industry as to how time sensitive it is. It also depends on what works for you. So things like the Google Search Console 24-hour visibility can give you a much clearer view on what is working. If you're producing content every day and it's just not, and you're indexing it of course quickly and it's not working, don't post content every day. I know that sounds really basic, but don't. The size of your website. In 2025, there are now so many blogs being produced. For blog sites that have hundreds and hundreds of blogs, you do not need to be posting multiple times a day, multiple times a week, because the value will be in refreshing the content you already have. So creating one big long form guide on topics rather than 5 blogs on that topic every week or whatever.
Yeah, interesting. But what's almost like the big takeaway, the thing to be thinking about for 2025?
That's a big question.
It is a big question.
Just because you can produce masses of content doesn't mean you should. You have to refine and you have to tailor your content output to your audience, to what works, to the size of your site, to the nature of your queries. That's probably what I would say.
It's amazing. Brilliant. Well, that is it from us. But also, just if you found that content useful, we are having our first marketing leadership series where we're going to be talking about all the things that have been happening or will be happening in 2025. So you can get your marketing activities ready. Find more information on our website. Do sign up there, and we hope to see you again soon.